This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ban Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ban Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ban Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ban Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ben Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ben Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ben Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves, to boost their sales, and many more. I have designed a 14 days course on getting to know about graphic designing with Photoshop and CorelDRAW, learning the fundamentals and essential tools to create stunning visuals and to monetize a career in graphic design. Join me on this journey, on this 14 days journey, as we walk through the graphic design processes, the tools needed, and the things to do so that you can monetize every content that you create. Stay tuned on this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as Richard Multimedia. Thank you. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ben Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to
Hi, I welcome you to today's episode of our Graphic Design Academy 1.0, and in today's episode we are going to learn or understand the concept and importance of layers, how to create, manage and organize layers, get introduced to the layer styles and blending modes, and we are going to complete a simple project using multiple layers too in today's session. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. So for the first thing we are going to do, we are just going to open our Photoshop. So from yesterday's lesson, we were taught how to set up the Photoshop, like the workspace, how to set it up. So if you open your Photoshop, this is the first thing you are going to see on your Photoshop. That is the recent page, the page that we are going to use to create do our works. You have to set it up before you go into anything. So this is mine. So I hope when you open yours, you either get something like this, that is a suggestion that is welcoming you to Photoshop. You can start a little intro here, starting tutorials about Photoshop. Photoshop is doing that, so you can learn something small from this place. So aside that, let's get right into it. So you just start by creating a new file. I didn't go deep yesterday, so I want to address these issues. Some were complaining their files are too big and other stuff. So in when you are creating a file and it's in inches, let's say as we did yesterday, 4, the width should be 4, the height should be 5, and the resolution here determines how big the file should be, or the quality of the file. So when you're using a smaller size, you say 4 inches, 5 inches, it's not much. So when you're using for a smaller size, the resolution has to be bigger. And also, if you're using a bigger size, the resolution has to be smaller, because when you are using a smaller size and the resolution of the size is very small, your work is going to pixelate. So let's try something out. Let's say we are setting a width of 4, a height of 5, and the resolution, let's say somewhere like 50. It will make the file very small. You see, let me import this image onto it. Let me import this one. You see, when you zoom in, because the resolution is very low, you see how it has pixelated. You see, Photoshop works with pixels, everything. And when we say pixels, is this small boxes here. It comes together to form the whole image or the full document. So when we say an image is pixelated, that is what it means. It means the quality is very low. You see, when I zoom in, you see, you don't see. This is how Photoshop works. But because we want a clear understanding or clear view up on what we are using, we just have to make the resolution bigger when the size is small. So there is an example of when we use a lower resolution. So let me go ahead and create a new document with the same size, the width 4, the height 5, and this time around let me use 500, the resolution of 500, and import the same image onto this canvas. See, when I import the same image onto this canvas, you see how the quality of the image is coming. You see it, unless you zoom in very big before you can see those pixels in it. Every image is made up of pixels, so the smaller the pixel, the quality the work. The bigger the pixels, the pixelated the work. So you just have to use a higher resolution for smaller sizes. So let's do for a bigger size and a smaller resolution. But mind you, if you check on this panel here, the document details here, you are going to see the size of this one. So this is the size between 14.3 megabytes and 16.5 megabytes here. And we go to the first one that we did. You see, it's 146.5 kilobytes per 195.3 kilobytes. You see, the size is smaller here, but this size is bigger. So let's go ahead again and create a different canvas. But this time round, we are going to use the width to be 40, the width to be 40 inches, and the height to be 50 inches, and the resolution to be, let's say, back to the 50 that we did, and import our image. You see, we are still getting the quality that we want. It's because the size is big and the resolution is very small. You see, when the size is big and the resolution is very small, it means the bigger size has the bigger size has smaller pixels. So the resolution determines the pixels that you are using. The lower the resolution, the bigger the pixels, and the low quality you are going to get for the image. I hope you are okay with it. If you have any questions too, you can alert me and I will address it. You see, the size has come back to 14.3, 16.5. So if you come to image size, you see what we did: 40 inches, 50 inches, resolution of 50. So 40 inches, 50 inches, resolution of 50. So big size, small resolution. You are going to get the same as big size, big resolution. I hope we understand that. So we will move on to understanding our layers. I think we had a little issues there understanding our layers. So let's get right into it. So we are going to create a canvas of 4 inches and 5 inches with a resolution of 500 for this tutorial. So someone will even ask, what are these layers that I've been talking about? Layers. What is layers? You see, layers are like transparent sheets stacked on top of each other, allowing for individual elements to be edited separately. This is English, so let me explain it further. Layers are like transparent sheets. So let's say this is a layer. This is the background layer that we are doing. So when we add a layer here, you see this is an empty layer. There is nothing on it. Let's add more. Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5. If I click here, it won't select any of the layer. If I click on the canvas here, it won't select any of the layers because they are all empty layers. Let me drag and drop our image, one of our image on it. You see, and this one too. You see, when I select it, it just selects the layer automatically. It just selects it automatically because the layer is not empty. There is an image in the layer. I hope we get it. There is an image in the layer. It's not empty. So when I bring it down here, still when I select, it will automatically select the image because that is what has something in it. So this layer is having the image in it. It's not an empty layer. So let's select the layer 1 and let's brush a color on it. Let's say a color of red on it. So let's say a color red on our layer. Hello. So let's brush something on it, on our first layer. I'm so sorry, I went off. Let me increase the opacity to 100 and let me brush on it. You see, so on layer 1 I've brushed red on it. And so I brushed the red on the layer layer 3. I'm so sorry, I brushed the red on the layer 3. Select the layer 2 and brush, let's say this color here, blue, on layer 2. You see, it's the brush that I added went behind the layer 3 because the layer 2 is behind the layer 3. Let's select layer 1 and choose another color, let's say yellow, and choose another color like yellow. You see, I brush again and it's going behind the layer 2 and the layer 3. Let me select layer 4 too and brush this turquoise blue on top of it. So this thing we are doing is not affecting the layers beneath it, the layer 3, the layer 2, the layer 1, the image layer here. Let me rename it as image. It's not affecting it because they are separate transparent individual layers. They are separate. They are separate. I hope we understand layers up to this point. So if you want to create a new layer, an empty layer, you click on this plus button here. If you want to duplicate this image layer, you drag it here to duplicate it. If you want to delete it, you drag it here. If you want to group it, you can select all. Hi, so this is the quick blending mode button here. This here is the quick blending mode button here, so you can select any of it. You see, now we have selected the layer 4 and we are telling it to dissolve with the layers beneath it. So if you click on it, it will dissolve. You see how it's showing? You see how it's showing? It's dissolving. And if we select it again, and you change it to darken, it means it should be dark on all the layers beneath it. If you select it again, multiply, it should multiply with it. Color bend, it should linear bend, darker color. So all these first one makes it dark in a special way. Lighten, screen, this is the lightening, this is the darkening, color dodge, linear dodge, lighter color, and this is the overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, pin light, hard light, hard mix, difference, exclusion, subtract, divide, hue and saturation, color, luminosity. That is the blending modes of it, how you want the layer to blend in. So if you want to hide a layer, you just click on this eye button here, click on this eye button. So if you click on it, it means you can't access those layers again unless you bring it back to life. Then you can have access to those layers. So let's hide these ones and let's change the blend mode of the layer 1, which is the yellow, to, let's say, screen. You see, when I change it to screen, you see how it's appearing. You can still see the image, but you are seeing the image with the color. You see, we've blended the image with the color. Now I hope we understand it from this point. So moving to the next one, we are going to learn about layer masking. So I've taught you how to create new layers. So I hope you are okay with how to create a new layer. You can also create a new layer by coming to layer, new, you see, new layer, layer from background, layer a group. So you can click on the group and create a layer for this group, a group layer. You can create an empty group that doesn't contain any layers, and it's a group from layers. So if you click group from layers, you see we selected the image and we click on group from layers. We have artboard from layers, frame from layers. So you just have to go through them, explore more of it and the blending mode. Now let's go to our layer masking. So we are done with new layer. If you want to create a new layer, the shortcut for it is the Control plus Shift plus N, and on the Mac is Command plus Shift plus N. So Control plus Shift plus N creates a new layer. And you can also create a layer from the selection, which is the shortcut for it is Command plus J. So you see, when I click on Command plus J, it duplicated the layer for us to get a double layer. Or you can drag it to the plus button down here to duplicate a layer. Or you can come to layer, new, layer from background. You see, it just created a layer from the background that we have here. And you come to duplicate layer, you can just duplicate this layer. So the next thing we are going to talk about too is managing layers. So in managing layers, the first thing you are going to do is you rename it. When you want to rename it, as I did earlier, you see I changed this image, the name here to image. Let me change it to photo. So you double click on it and you'll be able to change the name of the layer. And if you also want to reorder or arrange your layers to suit what you are doing, like if let me brush something here, this time let me brush this turquoise here, and let me select a different color, and brush this blue here. If you want to rearrange it, you just drag it down here, drag this here, drag this, dragging and just arranging your layers. So, and I've also taught you how to group the layers. Let me tell you one thing too about this Photoshop that I made you download. You see, with this version of Photoshop, and the app was, I think, from 2019 coming to this 2024, the Photoshop that they are updating to us, when you put your cursor on the tool that you want, it will just show you what that tool is used for. You see, when I just place my cursor here, it just told me, say, this one is a move tool. We use it to do what? Moves a selection or layer. So the only thing we use this move tool is to do is move a selection here, move a selection here, or move a layer. Aside that, and use it to make selections in the options tab. Aside that, we don't use the move tool for anything. And if you click this one and put your cursor on it, you see this is the rectangular marquee tool. It's a selection tool. We use it to select objects, as I said earlier on in yesterday's lesson. So if you go to our WhatsApp channel, you find all the lessons there, and how to also merge layers. So if you want to merge a layer, like these two layers, I want to merge it to be one, this one and this blue one. If I want to merge it to be one, I hold the control key. You hold the control key and you select the two, as we always do in copying files on our file manager and do stuff. You select, that is the same thing you do here. You select them here and you right click. You right click and choose merge layers, and it will merge the layers for you. See, when it merges it, you can't edit it again as individual layers, or you can select them, come to layer, and you go to merge layers. So you go to merge layers down here and you merge your layers, or you will select them. The shortcut for it is Ctrl+E, and it will merge the layers for you. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is the layer properties. So the properties of a layer is also found here. Properties, that is the opacity, the adjustment. You adjust the transparency of the layer using the opacity slider at the top of the layers panel, this place. So I want this one to be lighter. Mind you, this is not blending options, this is just opacity. You can just turn it on or off at any time. So this is the opacity. If you want to make more editing to this blending options, then you are going to use the blending options that we find here. It is FX here, and you go to blending options. So for this blending options, you get access to blending options here. For there, you can only work on the blend mode. You see, this is the general blending here. So you select, maybe I want it to lighten, this to be lightened, and the screen should be somewhere. The opacity of the screen in the blending mode should be, let's say, 50. You see how it affects? It also affects this one here. So if I turn it down to, let's say, 10, and I still come here to edit it, you are still going to get the same thing. You see, it was 9 here, 9 here. So this is the blending options, that is the layers properties. And we have the fill. The fill is different from the opacity. It just, you think it's the same until you know it is not the same. Let me explain it. You see, we can add a stroke to this layer here. You see, a stroke it's an outline that we give to works. So let me say I've given this stroke to this layer here, and if I want to reduce the fill, it means the main layer is going to be affected but not the outline. The main layer is going to be affected and not the outline. Please, I hope we understand that. So the next thing we are going to do is the layer styles, and one of the layer styles are what I just did right now, adding a stroke to the layer style. You can add a stroke to the layer style. So the layer style, this is where we work on it. So you can add a stroke to it, you can add an inner shadow, you can add a color overlay, you can add a gradient. So let's do something about that one too. You see, we're having turquoise blue there, so let's add an overlay of green on it. You see, that is a color overlay, and this one too is a gradient. So before you can do anything to, when it comes to overlays, you just have to select one at a time. You can't have a color overlay and a gradient overlay at the same time. You can't have the two at the same time, so you just have to select one at a time. Color overlay, our color overlay, let's change to our gradient overlay. So at the gradient overlay too, you can have radial, you can have a linear, you can have an angle, you can have a reflected, you can have diamond. But I mean, the most favorite, the one that I like using most is the linear. You see, you can save your gradient filter to here. You can just customize however you want it. I want this one to start from here, and this one should, let's say, red. Should be red. I can just click on new and it will just save it here. You can import someone's own, so I can just export these gradient filters for you, and we can also import it and install in your Photoshop so that you can also work add it to your gradient styles. So if you want to toggle it off, like if you don't want to use it anymore, you can just click on the effect, or let's say you've added more, you can double click to open the layer style to, let's say I've added gradient, I've layered satin, inner shadow, bevel and voice pattern. We've even added a drop shadow. We've dropped a shadow beneath it. So with each of the things here, you can add you can choose how it should appear, the blending mode. So you can just, let me remove the blend, the drop shadow. You can just remove the drop shadow and still have your color overlay, the gradient overlay, pattern overlay. You can just turn off any of the ones that you don't like. So if you want to bring it back, you can just do it this way. So talking about the blending mode again, the function of the blend modes is determine how a layer blends with the layers beneath it. So if I add a blend mode to this one, like we did a screen to this one, that is how we want it to affect the layers beneath it. If I bring it here, it won't affect the layer above it. It won't affect a layer above it. So let's change it, this blend mode, to screen, or let's say screen. So if I bring this layer to the screen, I change the blending to screen and bring this layer downwards, it won't affect the layers up there. It will only affect the layers beneath it. Please, I hope we understand. As we are editing our image, you see the blend modes that we added to our image editing here. The blend modes that we added to our image editing, you see this layer, we added a blend mode, vivid light, added some smart filters. You see when I toggle that layer off, you come back to the original. If I toggle it off, we come back to the original. If I toggle it on, the edited comes on it. But if I move this layer and bring it down here, it won't affect the layer on top anymore. Please, I hope we understand it. So you can go through and work on some parts of this thing too, the blend modes. So a project we are going to do today is we are going to learn also what a smart object is. A smart object. But before we do for a smart object, there is one thing called layer mask. The layer mask. We did the layer mask here on our image. This is how it looks like. It's either black or white. That is how a layer mask looks like, and it's located down here. Layer mask. So what is layer mask? Let me add an image. Let me add an empty layer. So let's assume this image, we want to paint the face of this image. Let's say her skin here yellow, a yellow color, and you create your layer here, your empty layer. Pick your brush and select your color. Let's say the yellow, we've selected it, and we paint yellow here. We paint yellow here. We paint yellow, a whole yellow on her face. When you use a blend mode to do it, you see, let's say this is how we want our image to look like. Let's use any of our blend modes here. We see we want the yellow to blend in an overlay. Should be an overlay of her skin, but we don't want it to affect the eyes. And you can't just be changing your brush effect to, let's say, overlay and opacity to, let's say, 10 or 9, and be brushing on the image one after the other till you get it. It will work, but to get it the specific way and make it very professional. You see, I'm doing it too, but it's not the professional way. It's not the professional way to do it. So the best way to do it is to, let me undo this. So the best way to do it as a professional, I would say as a professional, is to paint over it with a new layer. So that you see, the one that I did, I had to select that layer and paint on it. But this time round, you can just select your layer that you've painted with a color, add a layer mask to it. You see, this is not a negative layer mask. So if you add a white layer mask, it means your foreground color has to be black and the background color has to be white. Then whilst you've selected the layer, if you select just the whole layer, it won't work. You have to select the layer mask thumbnail here. The layer mask thumbnail, if you select it, that is when you have access to editing anything. The editing you're going to do will only affect the layer mask. So let's say our foreground color is white and our background color is where our foreground is black and our background color is white. Sorry. You see, when I paint on it, let me increase the opacity of the brush. when I paint on it, oh sorry, I changed this place to none. So when I paint on it, you see that it's changing. You see that it's erasing the part that I don't want from it. It's erasing the part that I don't want from it. So you can use a positive layer mask or a negative layer mask. In all cases, it works. It depends on how fast you can be. So the image that we were editing, we could have added a white layer mask, a positive layer mask. So you see this side that I couldn't do well. If you want to change the brush size so that you can do it, you just change this place to white, the foreground color to white and the background color to black, to bring back what was there. So all the same, if you want to clear these brushes that we've done to this image, you will just right click on the layer mask. You see, when you are working on something, you just select that thing in particular. You don't select the whole thing. So if you want to work with the layer mask, you select the layer mask. You see this thing that we've done here, if we want to change this color here, we can either use a color overlay or we toggle off. This indicates that the layer mask is linked. You see, when something is linked together, that is what we use to link layers. You can just click on it to remove it. So if we remove that one too, we can only work on this one. If you remove this color here, it won't affect the selection that we've made. Please, I hope we understand what I'm doing. It won't affect what you are doing. Let me undo it, and also let me link back the layers. Let me clear this layer from it. So if you want to clear this layer mask, you select the layer mask, right click on it and select delete layer mask to delete it. Now the same thing, if I want to just get the color on the skin here, I'll hold the Alt key. Please keep in mind the Alt key, not the Shift key. You hold the Alt key and you select the layer mask be under here. While holding the Alt key, you click on the layer mask. It will add a negative layer mask, which is the black one. So if you want to paint on the black one to reveal the yellow color that you want, the foreground color here has to be white and the background color also has to be black. And I select my brush. Now I paint on it. So I'll be moving very fast from this session. So you paint on how you just want it, just as simple as that, but you have to take your time and do it very well. So the next thing you are going to do is we are going to change the eye color here to this brown thing that is on the person's eye to blue, using the adjustment layers, the adjustment filter here. So if you want to change it, this place adds all these adds a layer to it. You see, if you want to edit this thing here, you can, there's filters here, or you can come to image and image adjustment. Those are the adjustments that we can make to it, image and adjustment. When you make these adjustments, it will affect the image itself. But when you convert to a smart object and you come to image and you add an adjustment, it becomes a filter on it here. a smart filter here, so you can just toggle it on and toggle it off. Please, I hope we understand from that part too. So right now what you are going to do is we are going to do the adjustment layers, but this time we want the adjustment layers to be the adjustment that we're going to be in a layer. So we click on this place here. You see it's called create what, new fill or adjustment layer. So we create an adjustment layer. We can add a solid color to, you see when you add the solid color, it comes in front of it on top of the layer here. But what you're going to do for changing the eye color to, let's say, a blue color, we will use the hue saturation, and you see this is the color we want to change, the brown here. So we select this color picker here, we select it here, and we dip the color that we want to change. You see when I dipped on it, it just changed to red, telling me that the color is in reds. So if I want to change the reds, it's going to just change the color of the eye to red. So let me maintain this blue here, add more saturation to the blue eye, add more lightness to it, let me say a darkness to it. I think it's okay. You see all these things we are doing, the hue saturation adjustment layer that came, we are only working with what, the layer mask here. You see it comes with a layer mask. All the adjustment layers comes with layer mask, even color balance, gradient, they all comes with a layer mask. So as we did for changing the teeth color and stuff, you hold the Alt key and select the layer mask, or for this one that it already brought a layer mask, you select the layer mask thumbnail here, go to image, go to adjustment, and you invert it to change it to a negative layer mask. Come and pick up your brush here and start brushing on the eye, brushing on the place where we want to change the eye color. You see the eye color has changed to blue. If I come and brush here, it will affect here because the layer here, if I disable it here, it turns back to a normal hue saturation layer. So if I enable it and change this color here, you can just change it by clicking this place and cleaning this one, because that is not what we want. The ones that we want are the ones that we've painted. These are the ones that we've painted, and now we want to change it again. So if you want to change the color again, that is after when you've selected the ones that you want and the place that you want the color to be, you just come back and select the hue saturation layer here, not the layer mask, the hue adjustment layer here. You come back to select it, change this place to the reds, and change to the color that we want. You see it's changing to the color that we want. Now it's changing to red, back to original yellow, green. Please, I hope we get it. So that is the same thing that if we want to change the cloth color of something, the color of a cloth. So in today's assignment, this is what we are going to do. We are going to change the eye color. We are going to do the blemishes, change the eye color to the colors that you think is okay for you with the images I uploaded on the page earlier. So for me, I'm coming to do my skin treatment, and after I finish my skin treatment, I will change the eye color. So let me close this so that you don't say I'll also change background. Yesterday I taught you how to change background, the simple way to do it. So you can also watch me whilst I do everything from scratch. What we've learned today, I do it from scratch. Let me open Recent and clear it so that you don't see I brought something that has been already that is already done. So let me take which image, which image. Let me go for this image. So first thing I'll do is I will clear my blemishes. That is what I want to do first. I want to clear the blemishes first. So quick on. So please stay with me whilst I work with this. Watch it very closely. Someone was also asking on the page that how do we know if this is a birthmark or a blemish, a pimple or an acne. Someone was asking that. You see, before you will edit someone's portrait or anything of that sort, you have to seek the person's consent. You have to ask the person if what is on the person's face is a blemish or is something that we can just take it out from there. So I'm leaving this black spot here as a birthmark, and let me continue. We don't have time, so let me just continue here. You see, I'm done with my blemishes. So I duplicate the layer, right click, convert to smart object, go to image adjustment, invert, normal, vivid, filter, other, high pass. Let me maintain the 31, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, let me leave it at 4.5, add a negative adjustment layer here, and I start brushing. So simple. I know it's simple for us, so I just start brushing, brush till I get what I want. I think I'm okay now. So I taught us how to merge a layer. So I'll go to image. I'll select the images that I want to merge. Let me duplicate this one too so that I can get what I want here. Select these layers, right click on them, merge these layers. You see, I didn't duplicate the before blemishes, so when I do before and after, it will just only be the fixed one and the one that has not been fixed. So I thought you a simple way to change backgrounds. So you come to properties, remove background, and Photoshop AI will just do everything for you. Yes, so it has removed the background. So if I toggle off this the background layer here, it will show me the background remover that it has done. So if you want to apply it, you select the layer mask, right click, apply layer mask to remove the layer mask that is there. Now we are going to add an adjustment layer beneath the image. Let me rename this image to remove background. And let me add an adjustment layer, which is let me say a gradient. So this is the gradient that I want to add to the background of the image. Let me choose the ones I have here. You can also create your own. So I bring the remove background layer on top of this one. That's all. I've changed the layer. You see, with Photoshop's AI, is not all that perfect. So sometimes you can come to your tools panel here and you select your lasso tool. See, all these are selection tool, the move tool, the lasso tool, the object selection tool. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4, let me say, are the selection tool. We use it to select object. You see, when I pasted it, placed my mouse cursor on it, just show me how it used to select objects. So we call this one the quick selection tool. When you right click on it, you see object selection to quick selection tool. So you have to explore all what it does and you use what you want. So I will just select this one that was an error here. Oh, sorry. You just click and drag for it to select for you. And you can also use the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool. That is the one that I like using best, because I will just be clicking on the spaces that I don't want and it will just select and do the magic for me. And I just hit delete and it deletes. I just hit delete and it just deletes. I just hit delete and it just deletes. Please don't worry, I will merge the video for us to watch later and paste it tomorrow on the channel so that we can also learn about it. So we will add another adjustment layer. Let's say brightness. We bring out the brightness a little. We add more contrast to it. Brightness, contrast. We add a color balance. We have to balance the color. You see, this is going somewhere here, so you have to balance the color of your image. A little blues. We don't need reds. I think it's balanced now. You can duplicate this layer to the background layer. You see, I'm trying to apply everything we've did here on top here and add a blend mode to it. So a blend mode to it, let's say screen. So when we use screen, you can use the opacity to also help blend in. So you can just toggle off the brightness and the color balance, or you can maintain the brightness and you just use the gradient fill that we used at the background. You bring it from, this is the trick that I'm showing. You can just bring, the best way to do it is bring it right on top of your image, and you right click and create a clipping mask. So when I create a clipping mask, it only affects the image beneath it. You see, I've clipped it inside. It's like putting a pen in a bag. So this is the pen and this is the bag. I'm putting it in the bag, or I'm covering this remove background layer with this gradient layer, and you can play with the opacity for you to get your blend, so it will just blend with the background color. There's a trick that I'm giving you. The background to change the eye color. 3, add an adjustment layer. An adjustment layer. let me see blending options. What we've worked on today, I want to see it. I want to see clearing, skin smoothing. So today's task is to edit an image, to correct image. So you show me the before, you show me the after, and you take a screenshot of your workspace. If there is teeth included, I want to see teeth whitening too. And you are going to show me before, two, after, three, and your workspace. I want to check how you've arranged your layers, your blend modes, the opacity you are using, everything. I'll do a sample too and put on this YouTube channel and put the link to on the page so that you can use your way out. I know the serious ones are here with me and we are doing this, so I will just work something out and put it on the page. So the next thing we are going to do, the last one that we are doing for tonight, is how to save the document. So if you're having this version of, let's say I have WhatsApp installed on my machine, so I will just click on WhatsApp. I'll search the area that I want to share it. Let me say I want to share it to our respective groups. I just click send. If you're having internet, it will just come straight to the page. You see, so you can, if you go to your respective pages, you can see it there. So I've shared the image. It will load for some time and it will somewhere and send it to us too. There is also an option there. I've uploaded just the image that we did here on the page. So saving an image, you come to file, save as, you click on the drop down menu here. You see, when you click on the drop down menu here, you are not going to get all of them because we've not done these settings. Please follow me so that we can finish. If you want to save it as a Photoshop file so that you can get this image I've taught you in the previous shows, you just select the Photoshop and you save it. Let me save it as day 3 example. The 3 example, but we have to make these settings first. You go to edit, scroll down to preferences, go to general, you come to file handling, or you can go to the preferences and come to file handling just straight forward. So file handling, you toggle on this enable legacy saver, so it's going to enable a legacy that we can save as on that page, the save as type, and do not append copy. You can toggle on this one, do not append copy to file name when saving, and always set the automatic save recovery information every 5 minutes, because it can, if you are not having a strong machine, Photoshop can just close at any time and you are going to lose it. So when we come to file again and we have save as and we click on the save as type, now we are going to get all of what we wanted. So if you want to share the image that I gave you, this is the first one is what you are going to use, JPEG, the first one. So you can save in JPEG or PNG. So when you are sharing the files that you are sharing, I want to see the before as JPEG, before as JPEG, after as PNG, and you give me a screenshot. The screenshot automatically, it is going to be either a PNG or a JPEG, depending on the type of machine you are using, but any of them is okay. So JPEG, the 3 example, and I save. And this assignment, I'm going to take it personally on my WhatsApp account. So you are going to send to me directly, and that is where I'll be giving the marks. I'll enter the marks on the page, and you are sending to me directly, and you have your WhatsApp on your machine. You just drag it here, click on send as document, so that I get to see the quality that you have. So I've still uploaded on the page. Please, the image I've sent here is not part of it. You can use any of the ones we've done. Don't use the one that I've sent to you. And please don't send your work in PSD for me. So if you want to, so after you are done with it, you hold the Windows key and the parts synchronize key, or you search for snip on your machine, the snipping tool. You search snipping tool and you select new snip. So this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. I want to see the time too that you did and your tax bar. So I won't use it for anything, but I want to see it. Snip this one. You go to file. You save into your folder, the folder that you are going to be using. You see, automatically it's in PNG. You can change it to JPEG directly, so you can send it to me as PNG or JPEG. I'll be posting these two on the page too, so that you will get to know how the assignment should be submitted. How the assignment should be submitted, and they all has to be in a document format. They all has to be in a document format. They all has to be in the document format. So I'll just put together the assignment and put on the page. Please, I have to get the assignment before we start tomorrow's session. And for tomorrow's session, we are going to be doing the same thing, but an advance. We are going to introduce ourselves to CorelDRAW. That is for day 4. So for day 4, we are going to introduce ourselves to CorelDRAW, the interface and the basic tools. And I told you what we are going to use CorelDRAW for our logos, text designs, for our branding, brand identity, and other stuff. So I will say for Photoshop, we are done with the introduction of Photoshop. Please, I hope everyone is with me. We are done with introduction to Photoshop, so we won't come back to the basics of Photoshop again. So the next thing we are going to do is introduction to our advanced Photoshop. That is day 4. Okay, so day 4, we are not going to go to CorelDRAW. We are going to dive deep into Adobe, the Adobe Photoshop again. That is what you are going to do. We are going to be working more on Adobe Photoshop. We are going to dive in very deep. We are going to go into it very deep and learn some tips and tricks in Photoshop. We are going to explore more filters, effects, use brushes, different brushes effectively. We are going to be using brushes effectively. we are going to be using brushes effectively. We are going to be doing more of Photoshop, so I will be teaching you some tips and some tricks in Photoshop. I'll be teaching us some tips and some tricks in Photoshop. So please stay with me whilst we go through this journey together. Stay with me whilst we go into this graphic design academy together. So we are going to be tomorrow's content. We are going to work with typography in Photoshop. So we are going to do more designs, church flyer designs, birthday designs, and I will give you templates how to work on some templates too. And the next day too, we are going to do a Photoshop project day. So I will give you a concept and you design a flyer and send it to me. And day 6 too, we are going to be introduced to our Corel. So we are not done with Photoshop yet, but we are done with the basics. So we are just going to dive in more and do more on the next episodes. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time. Bye bye.
Themselves to boost their sales. How did you become a graphic designer? This is the question most people have been asking me whilst I walk through this journey. Hi, my name is Ben Richmond, a graphic designer and a brand consultant with 7 years of experience in this creative field, helping brands to boost their sales with visual content, to expose themselves to boost their